and welcome back. Another consignment update at Gardner Holgate Auction Rooms in Corsham, Wiltshire, UK. So we're looking at going through our consignment updates for our June 2025 auction, taking place from the 10th to the 13th. And today we have a bit of a special consignment update because we are focusing on one artist collection. Now that artist is Mr. Gordon Giltrap MBE. I'm sure I don't need to really give him much introduction. He is a world-renowned guitar virtuoso, mainly instrumental fingerstyle player, but very well known certainly within the British folk music scene, and very influential as well. A body of work going right back to the early 1970s, right up until modern day, and he is still composing, recording, and playing live. It's not all of his collection. He has kept some back, but we are offering 20 guitars. We won't see all of them in this video today, but we will see the vast majority of them. There's a lot of cool guitars there, a lot of guitars that have some great history and provenance, going right back to the early days, like I said, in the early 70s. So yeah, I hope you enjoy this video. As always, do comment, tell us what you like, what you don't like. Again, anything that you feel I may have got wrong, we always like corrections. And then, yeah, generally any comments of your memories of seeing Gordon, or your favourite songs by him, and things you might fancy having a bid on. And as always, please remember to subscribe to our channel, hit the bell icon, and hit the like button, because you will get notified about future video uploads. We do these consignment updates weekly, as well as various video demos as well. So let's not waste any more time and let's have a look. So first up, from the Gordon Giltrap collection, we should really start with one of his signature model guitars. So Gordon had a relationship with JHS Vintage, as many of you will know. I'm sure there's plenty of you out there who have his signature model or one of his signature model guitars already. But this guitar is actually his custom #1. So this is not a production model. This is his #1 guitar, and that is signified by the GG on the 12th fret there. You can see there's some customized position markers that have been placed there by Gordon himself. We've got this Fishman microphone and pickup system, but you can see all the playware from its use. So this guitar, it appears as the front cover of his 2015 Time to Reflect album. So it's nice to see it on the front cover of an album. But this guitar was used quite a lot for composition, recording, and live performances. There's a lot of videos that you can find if you go on YouTube, and which is usually the main place to go for music content of this nature. You can see a lot of live performances of Gordon with this guitar. So a great one to kick off with. This is his #1 vintage signature model. Here we have another vintage brand acoustic guitar. As you'd expect, there are a few of these in the collection. But second up, we have this JG model. Now, JG is the initials of Gordon Giltrap's son, Jamie. Now, Jamie sadly passed away in 2018, and a model was essentially designed between Gordon and JHS Vintage to commemorate his life. So Jamie was actually a fairly well-known DJ as well, known as DJ Tango, but this is the model that came to be. So again, it's something that has been used live by Gordon, and used in other situations as well. But there are videos. If you look at the description on the website, you will see a clip for this being used. But again, another really nice vintage signature model, and generally, like most of Gordon's guitars, kept in good condition. So in here we have another vintage Gordon Giltrap signature, this time the VE2000GG. So this is a production run guitar, one that went to Gordon, which has been stage used. So a stage used production run guitar, and as you can see again, in nice clean condition, comes with its original case, but one that has been used in various situations by Gordon. And in here we have another very similar guitar, but this is the 12-string version. So again, electroacoustic. There are promotional photographs of Gordon with this guitar from the time of its release. I should also mention the 6-string that we saw in the last clip. That was also extensively used in promotional shots as well. So most of the promotional shots you see of Gordon Giltrap with his 6-string, with his 12-string, it will be this guitar and the one in the previous clip. But there we go, another production run 12-string from Gordon Giltrap's personal collection. So here we have another vintage brand guitar, this time not a Gordon Giltrap signature, but it was a guitar that was endorsed by him. So it's a vintage Roger Williams nylon string guitar, and Roger Williams, a well-regarded maker of classical guitars mainly, but the whole idea of this guitar was to give steel string players, it's basically a perfect guitar for steel string players, but to give that nylon string sound. So we've got an Indian rose with back and sides, cedar top, which I believe is AA or AAA graded according to the specs, and we've got the Fishman ink system as well. Now this guitar was used by Gordon in the studio and live, and the promotional photographs were, at the time this model came out, because Gordon Giltrap was one of the people that endorsed this model. There are promotional photographs of Gordon with this guitar as well. But of course, if you have a look at our catalogue, you'll be able to see the main photograph we mean. But yeah, this one was used in the studio and in various live situations as well. And once again, comes with its original hard case. I guess if you're a British folk musician, you'd possibly expect to have some collaboration with this maker, and that is Roger Bucknall of Fylde Guitars. So this is one of his instruments. This was made in 1973, so this is right at the beginning of Roger Bucknall's making career as being a guitar builder, luthier. And as you can see, it appears in very fine condition, which generally it is, but it has had some restoration work in the past. There is in fact a Tom Mates restoration label internally. And what you should also be able to see, if we look the other side, there is a label, and we can see that the guitar was made for Gordon Giltrap by Roger Bucknall in 1973, which I'm not sure if we're picking that up on the camera, because it is very faint as well under there, just looking at it now. But yeah, a very, very early Fylde guitar, so if you're a collector of Fylde guitars, could be considered quite an important guitar. Of course, it is a 12-string, and you can see this guitar in action on various performances. There's various photographs of Gordon with this guitar, and you can hear this particular guitar on the track From the Four Winds from his 1976 Visionary album as well. So yeah, used extensively by Gordon throughout his career for composition in the studio and for live performances. So I guess really one of the highlights of the collection. And Gordon Giltrap also had a signature model with Fret King guitars, Trev Wilkinson's Fret King instruments. So this is the Gordon Giltrap signature Fret King, and this guitar again is another one that has been used both in the studio and live. In terms of live performances, Dodo's Dream his track is the one that this guitar was used on, and then it was also used in the studio for the recording specifically of the Melody Weaver's Son from his 2022 Scattered Chapters album. So use in the studio, use live, fantastic instrument as well. You've got this sort of humbucker in the bridge and this mini humbucker in the neck position. You've got this satin finish as well, and the satin finish on the neck, so it feels really nice in the hand. Great player. There were sort of various configurations of the GG model. Fret King P90s was another different spec you could get with these. But there we go, another signature model Gordon Giltrap guitar. So this is a rather interesting guitar. So to most of you, it will probably look like a very, very cheap small-bodied instrument. As you can see, well, you can't see from the label because of this pickup's in the way, but it's labelled Roca. But these are, I mean, if we, probably quite honestly, this guitar itself, if this came into us for valuation, it probably wouldn't make it through the door. There's no disrespect to it, but in terms of value, obviously it's here because it's in the Gordon Giltrap collection, and so it does have significance in terms of value, but in terms of intrinsic value, a very low value instrument, and from a, I guess from a business point of view, it wouldn't be something that we would really sell. Maybe it would appear in a job lot of other instruments. And Gordon only paid £5 for this guitar. It came from a car boot sale, but he thought it was an interesting little small body guitar. And actually now it's sort of had repairs and it's had some modifications and it's been fettled. It's actually a fantastic instrument, and it was used, it became quite an important composition instrument for Gordon. So just looking at the guitar and what we have, so there are some tape repairs here. So it was in slight disrepair, so taped at the side there just to patch that up. Other than that, structurally, everything was okay. Some decent tuners were installed on it just for the stability. And then there's a little G logo that's been added there, a little customization. But you will see here we've got a permanent 5th fret capo. Well, it's not permanent, it's removable. So we've got a 5th fret capo here that stays on there quite a lot of the time anyway. But you will see the permanent capo we have here to the 10th fret. And this essentially keeps this string in that constant pitch. And then there's this Seymour Duncan Woody pickup as well. As I said, this did become quite an important composition instrument. It's got this sort of Nashville strings, this sort of the Appalachian style, and it was used on the recordings of Appalachian Dreaming, as well as Rain in the Doorway from his 1998 Troubadour album. So yeah, lightweight Nashville strings on this guitar, used live in various situations. Again, if you look at the preview catalogue, there'll be some links just showing this guitar in action. But really interesting story of this one, as we've all heard. Then you can see some of the various tuning notes that Gordon had on the back of the head as well. So here, I guess we can consider this another budget guitar. It is a Squier by Fender Strat in this black finish, missing its back plate there as you can see. Really nice neck on it though, look at the flame on that neck. Really good quality piece of maple on this Squier Strat. But this guitar also was a car boot guitar, a car boot find, and this also was used in the composition and recording of Starfield from his 2022 Scattered Chapters album. Now, I think this guitar and the one that we saw previously really does go to show that, you know, any guitar can be used no matter what the value. A new instrument or a different instrument can be an inspiration for a song, and that this guitar, like I said, and the previous £5 Appalachian guitar really does does prove that point. But yeah, another great guitar used for composing and recording purposes. In here we have a rather lovely guitar. This one from 2001. This is a H516 Heritage, made in the ex-Gibson Kalamazoo factory, as all the Heritage instruments are, of course. All the old Kalamazoo workers came together to start up the brand and make some fine instruments indeed. So this is another guitar. I will just point out while we're there, we've got the Factory 2 stamp on the back of the head. There's all sorts of chat about what these Factory 2 stamps mean. Sometimes it's just a small quality control issue, which can often not even be spotted. Some people say that they are they're guitars that sort of went out the back door to factory workers, but who really knows? It's a bit of a moot point really, because it's a fine instrument and there's not really anything wrong with it, certainly that we can see anyway. But yeah, another guitar that was used by Gordon Giltrap for composing in the studio and various live performances. Most recently, this was used for the performance of Dodo's Dream, which is a song that uses electrified guitars. We had the Fret King Gordon Giltrap signature, but in 2024 he did a performance at Acapella Studio in Wales, and yeah, this guitar can be seen on that video. The link to that video can be seen in the description. But again, another very fine instrument indeed, and one that was used in many situations by Gordon once again. So as you can see, Yamaha branded Hiscox hard case, and there is a Yamaha in here. Yamaha do make fantastic acoustic guitars, as I'm sure most of you are aware. This is from 2008, and it is an LA-8 model. So this guitar has been used a lot by Gordon Giltrap live, up until recently as well. You can see this guitar live in concert. In 2022, a concert that he did in Oxted. There is a YouTube video of that performance. But also in 2024, the 2 parts guitar tour with John Etheridge. This was a live instrument used for that tour. So again, comes with its original case. Another fantastic instrument from his collection. So here we have a 1970s, so a vintage US Harmony acoustic, and this is another stage and studio used instrument. Gordon really liked this instrument, or still does, but it's time for it to go to a new home. It's a H1233 model, and you can see it's got the Fishman pickup in there to amplify it for those live performances. But you can see all the wear on it. So I'm sure not just created by Gordon, the wear on this one, but previous owners as well. But another cool instrument from the collection, 1970s Harmony 12-string. So here we have an antique instrument. This guitar was restored by renowned luthier Rob Armstrong for Gordon. It's labelled Ramon Redueyo, and I guess just for those of you who don't know much about these old antique guitars, if you ever see a guitar with all of this inlay like this, you can pretty much guarantee it's from Valencia, in Spain. Salvador Ibanez was another well-known maker, using this style and this inlay. We sold many Salvador Ibanez guitars before. So yeah, if you do see a guitar like this from a distance, you can now impress people and say, "Oh, I bet that guitar was made in Valencia," and then you can show people the label and show off that you were right. Maybe, but there we go. Interesting small-bodied instrument. A lot of these Valencian guitars tend to be smaller bodied, and yeah, just really just part of Gordon's collection. So here we have another vintage brand instrument. This is a VGA990N, and this guitar is, as you can see, mahogany back and sides, or laminate mahogany back and sides and a spruce top. But what you will see is on the 10th fret we have another capo, permanent capo holder there. Now this guitar was the reserve for Appalachian Dreaming. So again, it's got the capo, it's got the Nashville strings, it's the lightweight Nashville Appalachian tuning and strings. So yeah, a reserve guitar for that purpose, and another part of the collection. So in here we have a classical guitar, and we can usually tell just by looking at these, especially the type of wood used on the back and sides. This is a Harald Petersen, probably late 1950s. You can see there is some parting to the back there, which can be restored to the maple back there. But you can see the label inside as well, or should be able to, the Harald Petersen instruments. Now this guitar was used for composition and recording purposes for the 1987 album Midnight Clear. So another important guitar used for compositions and recording, and it comes with what is quite possibly the original case. So here we have a Supro, and this is a reissue Supro, the 1575JB model. Very Americana in looks. There we go, made in China 2016, as we can see from the back of the head. Now this guitar is just something that Gordon saw and thought was a pretty cool guitar, so bought it and just became part of his collection. But cool instrument. So another interesting guitar from the collection, a hand-painted cigar box guitar. So this was painted by a artist called Janice Foley, and as you can see on the back there, known for the roseberry hair, and you can see everything about Janice and her work at yarnoriginals.com, as it says on the back of the guitar, signed as well by the artist. And if I turn it over, you will see this this tribute here to Gordon's late wife Hilary, who sadly passed away in 2022. So yeah, this was painted as a tribute by Janice for Gordon, a tribute to his late wife. And then you can see the hair just hiding there over to one side. So all of the images tend to feature this roseberry hair. And there we go, one part of the collection. So in here, just finishing off the collection, is, I guess, arguably one of the most significant guitars from the collection. So this is a early 1970s John Bailey custom-made double neck electro acoustic guitar. So we've got 12 strings on this side and 6 strings on this side, as you would expect, which is quite often the case with these double necks. And I'll just turn it over so we can have a quick look at the back as well. You see some tuning notes on there. You'll note the replacement tuners for tuning stability, these Grover tuners. I'll just flip it over again so we can see. You can see the carved top there. You can see how it's all carved in with the bridge inset. Really is a stunning instrument, really well made instrument. Now, John Bailey was a very well regarded luthier, particularly within the folk circuit. Like I said, he made this guitar in the early 1970s, and it was originally commissioned for Blonde on Blonde guitarist Ralph Denyer. Now, Ralph Denyer was also well known as the author of the Guitar Handbook as well. So he had the guitar for a while. There is one image of Ralph with this guitar, which we will include, hopefully, in the catalogue post about this instrument. Now, the guitar was later acquired by Gordon Giltrap, and it kind of became his most iconic instrument. It was used extensively throughout his early career for writing, recording and performances, and there was a photo session with Chris Cooper, which would go on to produce what is arguably his definitive portrait. which again, hopefully we'll be showing you a picture of that. There'll certainly be one in the catalogue. So again, up until that stage, obviously a really important instrument. Then in 1984, Gordon actually placed this guitar for sale on commission at Bert Jansch's newly opened guitar store or musical instrument store in Putney. Now obviously Bert is also a big name with the folk scene, and then there was a chap who saw the guitar while he was driving past in the window and instantly recognised it as Gordon Giltrap's guitar. He was sort of a big fan of Gordon Giltrap anyway. Now this chap's name is John Garvey, a journalist and a musician as well. And so yeah, he just had to have the instrument as soon as he saw it. So he went in straight away, bought it. So it wasn't in Bert's shop for too long. So John Garvey had the guitar for around 9 years. Loved the guitar, used it for various projects, and he even lent it out to singer-songwriter Chris Spring, who used it for live performances as well, and sort of various other work. And then, as I said, he had it for 9 years. And then in 1993, John actually needed to raise some funds to do some repairs on a church. So he put this guitar up for sale in a guitarist ad, and he had one reply to the advert. This gentleman on the phone asking about the guitar and its availability, and it turned out to be none other than Gordon Giltrap wanting to buy his old guitar back. So Gordon took the guitar back, like I said, in 1993, and it has remained in his possession ever since, and again used for composing, for recording and live performances. So we've got that definitive portrait that we mentioned about Gordon, but there are other situations where this guitar does appear, one of which is on this DVD here, which once I've put the guitar back in its case, which this is a case handmade by Gordon, so there we go, sort of all holds the guitar in place quite comfortably. But you'll see here the Sound Techniques Guitar Maestro Series 1, Gordon Giltrap in conversation with Trevor Dan, and you can see the guitar on the front there, and the guitar can also be seen on the front cover of Live at the BBC, and also the Heartsong vinyl as well. So yeah, this guitar is often seen with Gordon. Probably the one guitar that is seen most in various pictures when you do look up the history of Gordon Giltrap. But it is a fantastic instrument. It's a unique instrument, and yeah, it's got a interesting history right back to when it was built in the early 1970s. So there we go, ladies and gents. Thanks for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed that consignment special with the artist collection of Gordon Giltrap. We will be back next week with a more regular consignment update, just churning through all the guitars that we've got coming in for the auction. You've probably already realised by what we've seen in previous videos and what I've generally been saying that we do have a mammoth sale coming up. So yeah, join us next week where we probably will have a bit of a bumper episode because we have a deluge of stock that we have not yet featured in consignment updates. And the best way, of course, to be notified about these videos is to subscribe to our channel, hit the bell icon, and of course hit the like button as well. But you can also keep an eye on the website, sign up to our mailing list to keep up to date with all the guitar auction news. I look forward to seeing you next time.